Welcome to Progress in San Diego. Ordinary people doing extraordinary things. I'm your host, Walter Davis, and with me today I have the very unique privilege to introduce to you Joe Mintz. Welcome, Joe.
Thank you, Walter.
And Joe is the president of Thousand Smiles Foundation, which is an affiliate of the Rotary Club, Rotary International. So, Joe, can you tell me about Thousand Smiles Foundation? What is that?
Thousand Smiles Foundation is a project. It's a clinic based in Ensenada, Mexico, where a group of doctors, dentists, oral surgeons, orthodontists, nurses, and students come 4 times a year to help operate on and perform dental procedures on the children of Baja, Mexico, who are mostly unable to get these services where they live or because of their situation in life. And the clinic was designed primarily to find the children who had facial deformities, cleft palate being the most common of those deformities. And we have the finest surgeons in the world who come down and volunteer for these clinic weekends where we operate on these children and save their lives in many cases.
Wow. So you're saying that you have these talented professional doctors that go down and hold a clinic and do operations free of charge on children that have devastating facial deformities.
That's exactly right. And our passion is to just help a child reach the state of normal. And that way, they'll have a chance in life. But at birth, for a lot of reasons, environmental, diet, the water situation down there, there's a high propensity of this ailment, this birth defect. So our doctors will start operating on these children when they're only a few months old. And what's unique about our clinic is that it is a building that's been there for many years, so the children keep coming back either every clinic or every year or as needed, and get further adjustments, further operations. And by the time they're teenagers, they're looking pretty good. They're normal kids, and they're able to take on school and life and everything else that they need to deal with without the stigma of the deformity they were born with.
So it's got to be very complicated in terms of dealing with them because their facial structures are changing on a regular basis. But you also mentioned that it could also be life-threatening. Could you elaborate further? How is having a cleft palate life-threatening for some children?
When they're born, what a cleft palate really entails is the head forms from the back around to the front. That's why you have that ridge in the middle of your mouth. That's where your skull finally joined. In a cleft baby, you may only see a little bit of a cleft, quote, lip, which we're used to talking about, but the inside of the mouth may be open. And in most cases, it is open, so there's no way for the baby to swallow, get nutrition. It's just an opening in the top of their mouth. We go, and so we have to find these kids as early as we can, and we have certain implements we can put in there until they're old enough for surgery. And when they're old enough for surgery, we can close that. And there are several cutting-edge techniques that we use to close that palate inside. And now they can start to get the right nutrition and grow and gain weight. So it is definitely a life-threatening situation for a young child.
What is old enough for surgery in most cases?
About 10 months old, 10 pounds of weight. A certain amount of blood has to be flowing through their little body before we can operate in the risk of the bleeding, not being a danger.
I see. Now, How did you become president of this organization?
Well, sometimes in life you fall up. And I started 10 years ago as a volunteer. I had just joined a Rotary Club in Carlsbad because a fellow employee of mine had to leave work early Thursdays for this so-called Rotary meeting. And I said, "What is this all about?" He said, "You're coming." And he started taking me. It's a weekly meeting in every Rotary Club in the world. And I started going to, I think I went to 3 meetings and then joined up. Said, this sounds like a very worthwhile, fun thing to do and a worthwhile thing to do. And I was only in Rotary maybe a month, and the club said, we have a clinic coming up that we volunteer for in Ensenada, where our club prepares lunches for the families of these children who come to the clinic for the cleft palate and dental work. So I went down there, and we basically made tacos and bologna sandwiches and food for the families, because these families show up from all over Baja. Over 100 kids go through a clinic. So that could be 350, 400 people, mommy, daddy, sister, brother. They don't have nannies down there. I was surprised to find out. They actually had to all come together. So seriously, it was an incredibly rewarding experience. And then I went to 2 or 3 of these clinics, and then at a Rotary district event, I met one of the founders. And I said, I want to know what's going on inside the clinic. Why isn't there any rapport, any relationship? We work hard down there, but we don't seem to know what's going on. I said, you're a little snobby about what you're doing inside this building. Come on, open it up. He said, come to a next board meeting. I thought he'd just throw me out of the party, but he said, no, you come to the next board meeting. I did, and he introduced me. He said, all right, tell him what you think. I said, I think 1,000 Smiles is great, but if it doesn't engage the people who come to help and get us all involved more, what happens if we stop coming? You've got a problem. You need volunteers to understand more about what's going on. They threw me out of the meeting and said, all right, go wait in the hall for your ride home. Called me back in a few minutes, said, you're on the board. So I said, wow. They said, yeah, you're going to be the guy who's going to fix up 1,000 Smiles and make us a more congenial crowd. So about 3 years on the board, and they asked if I'd be president. And I said, well, I'm totally unqualified. And they said, perfect. So you have no bad habits. You're the president. And I'm the president for this year and next year, and I am passionately committed to helping 1,000 Smiles expand its brand and get more clubs involved and get more people coming down to fix lunches and to play with the kids and to help with the clinic, so that we stay strong and we have a good backbone of volunteers. And we just had a clinic this weekend. It was the biggest clinic ever. We had 120 children come through, 18 operations. And at the party, the dinner we do Friday night for all the volunteers, 125 people were there. So that is maybe 30, 40% bigger, stronger than we've ever been.
Wow, that's just phenomenal. Now, how do you get funding for the clinics?
That's the 64. I'll take 50. That's the question. Funding is all by donation. It's all private money. The Rotary, the board is made up of Rotarians from different clubs. We all get our clubs to do projects to come up with money. My club donates about $5,000 a year for the clinics. Some clubs donate more. Some private donors write $10,000 checks. But it's all donation, and we are a participant in the Smile Train program. They're the ads you see all over Wall Street Journal, the big publications where they talk about cleft palate clinics. They raise money for many organizations like ours. So we receive money from them. And once a year, we do a big fundraiser, the biggest one we can figure out that can raise $15,000 to $25,000, because it cost us about $65,000 to $75,000 a year. So we're $15,000, $18,000 per clinic in supplies. Basically, that's the materials, the medical supplies. We can't accept donations of medical supplies and equipment. We have to be very careful and only get new, dated, not stuff that is not dated. So we can't just let people give us medicine. So we spend money for that. But everybody's time is volunteered. These are the top surgeons in Southern California that come pay their own way to be there. Everybody pays to go. And so the event coming up is April 14th. It's a talent contest. And a Rotary Club, it's called Old Mission in San Diego, is putting on this very large talent event called So You Think You Have Talent San Diego, very similar to the TV show. And that would be a $75 ticket kind of event, annual, and then there would be drawings along with that and silent auctions. And out of that, we would get maybe, again, $15,000 to $20,000 toward our annual budget.
Now, we're talking Rotary International and the Thousand Smiles Foundation are nonprofit organizations. So we want to make sure that we state that part. Now, the price would be significantly higher if these doctors were paid, would it not?
Well, we didn't even realize how valuable that was until an accountant last year said, you should be showing the donated value so that when you go for matching grants, they're called, where they want to know, well, how much money do you spend, you can raise a percentage of that in grants. So we asked some of these oral surgeons, what do you usually charge an hour? $600, $800. Even the dentists are several $100s an hour. So now that is all shown as it's called a donation in kind, meaning it's not cash, it's a service of that value. And we keep close track of that and submit that with all our annual paperwork. And it shows that there's a lot of money put into the Thousand Smiles to keep that clinic operating the way it does.
Now, these doctors are donating, you said for the weekend, so these doctors are donating what, 16 hours, 20 hours? How long do they work on those clinics? How long are they down there?
The clinic has two phases. The clinic building, which we own, is we operate on the whole child, meaning we have dentists. The whole top floor of the clinic, there are about 8 dental chairs up there, all a foot apart. And there is a ear, nose, throat doctor, 2 of them who are there. There's an audiologist company that's there. Of course, X-ray is there. A speech therapist is there. We look at the whole child. And the reason the ear, nose, throat is so important is children with a cleft palate, fluids get down into their ears, and they go deaf if they don't clear that out. So half or more of the operations are putting tubes in the kids' ears so they can drain properly and they don't lose their hearing. So that's all. Friday, the families all come to the clinic. They go through the registration where the folders are made up, and they perform what's called triage. The doctors take a quick look and say, all right, this is a dental patient, but we also want them to get an X-ray, and we want them to see the ear, nose, throat doctor or whatever they need to do. And then they all go up to dental. And then Saturday, we continue the dental upstairs, but we also use a local nearby hospital where they will have now examined carefully all these kids, and they'll pick in this case 18, which is a big number of children that were brought to the hospital on Saturday for their operations. So we then split up the volunteers. Some still stay at the clinic to help with the kids. And the nurses, of course, the doctors and the volunteers who've been in the hospital before and know how that works, go over to the hospital, and that takes another day. So it's from 6 in the morning, we leave Chula Vista on a bus and go to the clinic, and we leave the hospital about 7 at night on Saturday. We stay over one night. We have a wonderful dinner Friday night. Great fellowship, all the volunteers, doctors, and Rotary clubs that have come down get to go to the dinner, and we all just have a great time.
Wow, that sounds wonderful. And if you look at those hours and multiply that by $800 an hour, that's a lot. That's a lot of money.
It's a lot of donated love. It really is.
Wonderful, wonderful. So I want to cover a couple of more things in addition to this. We're actually, more than halfway through with this interview, believe it or not. Tell me some more about Rotary. Can you just kind of give the audience a brief synopsis of that?
Surely. Rotary is an organization that was started in Chicago about 105 years ago by a lawyer and a few of his friends who just decided that it was important to perform service in the community, that the motto of Rotary hasn't changed from the beginning. It's service above self. And what can we do as citizens to help make other people's lives better? The Rotary has grown from that humble beginning to, of course, it's worldwide. Its foundation has over $1 billion in it that is used for all kinds of charitable giving. There are 1.2 million Rotarians. There are about 30,000 Rotary clubs. I mean, it's quite an organization. And the types of the clubs locally in every city, there are one or more. The majority of their work in Rotary is a local project, a women's resource center, Boys and Girls Club, scholarships, lots of scholarships for these wonderful high school kids, hands-on work, help clean up a park or do some good construction work. And that is your local community. Fundraisers, lots of fundraisers, so we have the money to do other good things. And then a portion of every Rotary Club's money goes to the foundation, which is the Rotary International. There we have projects all over the world. The most important projects in Rotary today are the eradication of polio, which has gotten tremendous publicity. Bill Gates Foundation, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, has given Rotary, I think, $400 million to date.
Wow.
And asked Rotary to match $200 million of that from all its members, and we did. And that money goes to these projects where teams, especially in March, this is the month everybody goes out into India and Africa, and it's that 2 drops of the polio vaccine in a child's mouth is all it takes. So it's finding these kids. They have inoculated 2 billion children, or some incredible number to date, and this close to getting rid of polio. The other major project is literacy around the world, making sure if you want to get ahead in the world, you've got to know how to read and write. Clean water is another very, very important part of Rotary. They drill wells all over the place. They come up with water treatment systems. And again, districts or clubs, in our case there's 63 clubs in the district, get together and do these international water projects. And then just health, taking care of the basic health needs in communities around the world. Rotary is also very big in what is called micro banking, where they'll go to parts of the world where they'll see help give a mother in a family $150, and it's a loan, and she'll be able to go out and buy some material and thread and maybe even a beat up little sewing machine, and she can start making products that she can sell. Mm-hmm. And this has been the most successful program I can imagine for the economic side of Rotary. And the return rate has been 99.999% of that money gets paid back. It's an amazing project.
Well, this is a wonderful organization, and I'm very proud to be a Rotarian myself.
Yes, and we are very lucky to have you in the district, Walter.
Right, thank you so much. And we are going to work very hard to focus the media or bring media attention to the great things that the Rotary is accomplishing and get more people involved with the Rotary so that we can become even more powerful and even do more positive things throughout the community. Now, even though you are president of Thousand Smiles Foundation, you are not a doctor.
No, I'm not.
We have we're down to our last 5 minutes or so here.
Yes,
so
sir.
Tell me about your business. Tell me about some of your business ventures. I heard you say that you are a serial entrepreneur. Did you not say that?
I've started a couple of small businesses. I'm on my third. My 15 minutes of fame I came out here in the 80s as what's called a color scientist. I knew a lot about graphics and computer graphics, and I met a group in Hollywood that asked me if there's any way to color the old black and white movies. And I said, of course, and I had no idea how, but I figured it out. And I started a company in San Diego called American Film Technology, and we colored the old Republic movies and Ted Turner's MGM library, and it was just sort of a fatty thing that lasted a couple of years, but it was a lot of fun, and it taught me a lot about starting a business. And then most recently, I started a company called Loomway, and we make tactical lights for the military. We were one of the first people, if not the first people, to put a computer and a flashlight so that the soldiers could program a light to be very bright or to strobe or to be very dim or to just be a safety beacon. And these lights are on the rifles of the soldiers, and the SEAL Team 6 uses this little 3-inch light. It's their little lifesaver. And we're very, very honored to work with our military and help them in any way we can.
Wonderful. I mean, wow, that's really an outstanding business. I mean, it's just so unique, the colorizing movies and making computers for a flashlight. I've never heard of such a thing.
Well, it's solve my philosophy in business is own the market, not the product, solve the problem any way you can. So I'm not tied to any technology. I'm concerned about the problem of the customer and what is he trying to do and how can we help him do it better. And I have a lot of good technology people around me. My best gift in life is I know what I don't know.
Okay, that's very helpful. We're down within our last 5 minutes, so I'd like for you to give your closing statements and call to action to the public.
Well, thank you. The most important thing we can do is to help others and to help those less fortunate. And Rotary is an organization, there's nothing like it. It's bigger than the UN, and it is the most important philanthropic organization in the planet. The projects within Rotary, like Thousand Smiles, where their passion will rest. And in my case, it could not be a more exciting life than to wake up every day and think about these kids and what we're going to do next to make our clinic more effective, and looking for volunteers. And you don't have to be in Rotary to be a volunteer at Thousand Smiles. We just want people who can help and who are willing to come down and see what this is all about. So I just can't thank you enough, Walter, for this opportunity to talk about it. Our next clinic is in May, the first Friday in May, and we hope if people will just go look us up on the internet and sign up. All the information is there for a clinic. They'll learn all about the organization and what it takes to become a volunteer.
Wonderful. And hopefully you'll give me that information and I can post it on the Community Coalition website.
Yes, I will. That would be great.
And then if anybody would like to get in touch with Joe, please call the telephone number at the end of the broadcast and go to the Community Coalition website where we'll hopefully have amplifying information, and I'll be able to put you in touch with Joe to learn more about the volunteer opportunities. I really want to thank you so very much. And just real quick, a couple of minutes, can you just name some famous Rotarians? I heard people naming off Rotarians. Can you do that?
Well, they're local. I only know the local district people.
Okay.
But up in Carlsbad, there are many military people.
Right, but I thought you could just enumerate some famous people. I heard those names at our last meeting, but we'll come back to that.
Okay.
We'll revisit that. I don't want to put you on the spot on that one. Again, we're attempting to bring you positive people in our community. I hope that we're accomplishing that mission. I want to thank you very much for joining us this evening. Please tell your friends, post it on Facebook, and come back every Sunday at 6 p.m. to join us here in Progress in San Diego. I'm Walter Davis.